We have to invest in ourselves. We have to back ourselves and invest in ourselves to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. Quite often I have students in my classroom that we don't even know what we want. And I get that because I was there. Like, I knew that there was more. I didn't quite know what that was. I did know that I had to let go of my shit, excuse my language. I normally start off these sessions with a slide that says, I'm a classy, intelligent, educated woman that says F a lot. I didn't have the opportunity to put the slide up, but it is, it comes to a point of knowing that there is more, knowing that things can be different, knowing that, I'm the only one that can make that difference.
Connect Coaching, Unplugged.
Good morning, Australia. Good evening, US, and good night in the UK and Europe. We are here with a good friend of Connect Coaching, Sherry Farrow, for our Unplugged number 29, all the way from Adelaide, South Australia. And I'll let Callum introduce you to the world.
Hey, Sherry. Sherry is a motivational speaker, international best-selling author, master trainer of NLP, the second female in Australia to earn the certification as of 2020, a stage hypnotist, master coach with over 15 years of corporate experience, starting in real estate and advancing to deputy CEO in local London. Sherry has a unique ability to connect with audiences and help them strengthen communication, connection, and confidence. And Sherry's down-to-earth humor makes her sought-after educator, engaging audiences with empowering tools and mindsets for achieving success. She's passionate about helping people break through self-imposed limitations and elevating their careers, business, and personal lives. And Sherry has been featured on Channel 7, co-authored the international bestseller Elevate Your Mindset, designed the world's only clinical diploma in NLP and hypnotherapy, and earned 5 stars for her Adelaide Fringe comedy Hypnosis show. Can't wait to get to that. As CEO of Successful Minds Institute, her mission is to create a mind-fit community by certifying one NLP master practitioner in Oval Home. When not speaking or training, Sherry enjoys a glass of red wine while taking in ocean views with family and friends. Sherry, welcome to the Connect Unplugged podcast. I am excited to have you here. One of the things that I've always loved about you is your humor. It is very dry. We won't hold that against you. So tell us, let's just kick it off with the comedy festival and how you turned your career as a world-class hypnotist and hypnotherapist into a fun setting like the comedy festival. Tell us more about that.
It's actually very interesting, Cal. And, it's I sort of want to ask you the question, are you sure you're reading my bio? Because when you hear it back, you think, oh, wow. But, I've heard from a good friend of mine that growth and comfort don't coexist.
Yeah.
So I think the Fringe Festival sort of started well before then, all the hypnosis shows, because I was really passionate about showing people the power of the mind. And I thought, how can I get it out there? Because when I first started, hypnosis was still a bit like, oh, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. So I wanted to make it a fun environment, and I wanted to be able to help people realize the power of the mind and what's possible. So my shows are a little bit different. I'm actually known as one of the fastest hypnotists as well on stage. So to be able to get people into a trance very, very quickly. I don't do a very long induction, and keep people on stage, whether they're, light trance, medium, or very deep trance, just to show people the difference. So they, allay all those fears at the same time. And so that's sort of what got me in there. I wanted to really expose hypnosis for the power within it of what it was able to do. So, it's always when you see people on stage and what they do, imagine that in a therapeutic setting and what's possible for them. People often ask me, like, how did you do it? And, I'll say, when I'm sitting in the green room, for example, I'm panicking. But of course, we've got these amazing tools of NLP and hypnosis and all of that. So I use what I know to be able to get me on stage. One thing I always know is I'm never not going to do it, because if I can spread the word about the power of what's possible for people, I'll be there doing it. So so just my way of having fun, and just showing people the benefits of hypnosis and hypnotherapy.
Had you always been a joker, or was it after you learned hypnotherapy, you thought, oh, I reckon I can go on stage and do this? Or like, had you done stand-up comedy before and you just happened to transfer that across to hypnotherapy, or was it like, well, how on earth do you wake up and go, I'm gonna go to the Fringe Festival? And
I ask myself that sometimes too.
right, was it
But,
those reds that you were drinking?
I guess, you know, we all have our own stories, don't we, of as to why, we've come into this field and why we've, studied NLP and hypnosis and all of that. And I guess mine was always ever since from a young girl, really, like, I had fairly traumatic experiences when I was young, pretty dysfunctional upbringing, all of that. And for me, my humor came from I didn't want anyone else to experience the pain that I was experiencing. So my humor came from being able to make others feel better. And and it's just sort of carried through like my way. And now it's interesting. Before, probably the humor used to be a mask, like as in I'm trying to mask what I was feeling, whereas now it's actually genuine, authentic humor. I'm just funny.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Look,
funny.
I get that. I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, it come from that. And the interesting thing
Goodness.
is when it comes to stage hypnosis, it's really the people on the stage that make it hilarious more
Yeah.
so than the actual hypnotist. I mean, apart from me, but
Yeah.
other hypnotists, it's more the people on the stage and what they do and stuff. It's just, and there'll be times when I'm actually on stage myself, still trying to control my laugh because I still find it so funny as to, what is possible when you are on stage and what it is possible people will do and can do, and also how people interpret the suggestions differently. So yeah,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I get a great laugh out of it myself. So yeah. It's
So for
fun.
those who are new to the field of hypnotherapy or new to even stage hypnosis, often like I grew up in New Zealand, and there was a stage hypnotherapist called Paul McKenna, and he did a whole show, and we used to watch it as 7:30 at night on Tuesday night, for example, after dinner. As a family, we would watch the stage hypnotherapy shows on TV in New Zealand, and when you're watching it and you don't understand what is actually happening, part of like I would doubt it and think, oh, they're all plugs. They all know what they're doing and they're all plugs. So how do you know who's going to be coming up on stage? How do you determine who comes up on, like, how does someone know that they're going to go up on stage, and how do you determine how someone comes up on stage without giving away any trade secrets? But obviously you have an audience of 50 or 100 people, and in order for the show to work, you require them to come up on stage. How do you know that that's going to happen?
No. You hold them tightly crossed like this. No. Well, one of the things you say, like, as a hypnotist is like, if no one comes up, there is no show. I always only work with volunteers, people that want to come up there. But you do your suggestibility test for those who have already done hypnosis.
Okay. What's the suggestibility test?
So basically in the audience, if would you like to do one with me right now?
Ooh,
Can we do
okay.
that?
Let's
All
do
right.
let's do a
Go for it.
suggestibility test.
Have you got room to stand up? So if we all stand up, let me just go. All right. I'll stand back here. If we all stand up, the one that you can do is just the you're struggling there, Count. So one of the good ones that I always do is just make sure that your feet are hip width apart, right? You're solid on your feet. And all I want you to do is just raise your right arm and point your index finger. So just raise your right arm, point your index finger. No, just straight out in front of you, not up. Just straight out in front. Yeah. And now all I want you to do is just turn to the right and go as far as you can go, right? All the way around, and just mark on the wall how far you've been. All right. How far can you go? All right. Good. Now come around to the front again. I hope everyone who's watching is doing the same. So pop your arm down. Yep. Go around, pop your arm down. Now just close your eyes for a moment. What I want you to do now is imagine in your mind, just imagine yourself doing that again. Don't do it yet, but just imagine that you're doing it again. You've lifted up your right arm, you've turned to the right, you're turning around, and just imagine that you're doing nearly a 360 all the way around. You're going all the way around, further than what you've ever been before. Much, much further than you've ever been before. Just see yourself doing that in your mind. Good. So just open up your eyes. And now just raise your right arm again, point your index finger, and go around again and notice the difference. And then come back around the front. So that little thing, everyone always goes further than what they
Way
got.
further.
What was possible.
Yeah, I wasn't even trying the first time.
So what I say there is that, how we have these limits. That's our limitation, our conscious limitation on how far we think we can go. And just by simply doing that, 10-second rehearsal in your mind, you're able to go so much further. So then I do a few different ones as well. And then I say to the crowd, like, the ones who did that really, really well, you're the ones that I want on the stage. It shows that you've got, you're using the powers of your intelligence, the powers of your imagination, and the powers of your concentration. So, yeah.
So it's not that it's fake, and it's not that it's like people are weak-minded, because I feel like there's this stigma out there that like stage shows are fake. They're all set up, like Connor was saying before, and that people that do come on stage are kind of weak-minded. Is that something that's still thought of now, or is it kind of like we moved past that?
There are three types of people who can't be hypnotized. Young children under the age of 7, because basically they are a little unconscious mind, so they don't need hypnosis to be able to take on board what you're saying and asking them to do. All right. So that's why for me, I'm really passionate about parents actually learning NLP and hypnosis, so they're actually giving their children the right suggestions and understanding the things that they say, how it either empowers or disempowers the children. The other type of person who can't be hypnotized is someone who's drunk or drugged. All right. Because they just don't have the concentration to be able to do it. And the third type of person who can't be hypnotized is someone with a low IQ.
Yeah, right. So it's kind of the opposite.
The stronger minded you are, the more that you benefit from hypnosis.
And some.
I mean, the higher your intelligence, the more you benefit from hypnosis. So basically, there isn't anyone out there who cannot be hypnotized. And when you're watching it from the audience, it absolutely does look like it's put on. You can't imagine yourself being up on stage doing what the subjects on stage are doing. But then when the people off the stage go out into the audience, and I always have a little joke where I leave it until they walk out the door of the theatre, that they're still in trance or in hypnosis, so that people can ask them questions and they still enact the suggestions that I've given them until they walk out the door. And that sort of shows people that it's not an act. It does look like it. I'll agree with you. I mean, I was the biggest skeptic before I did it. And that's probably why I probably pushed myself to do it, just to realize that, no, it's actually, what you're doing, but you can't, you like, not that you can't, but you don't want to stop yourself from doing it. But yeah, it's definitely all real. And that's what people, I love it when people realize that it's not fake, it's not acting, it's actually real people on stage doing, enacting the suggestions, using the powers of their intelligence.
Yeah, it's fascinating because if you can get that type of change to happen in that short of time, imagine the change that can occur for people when they're working on things like sporting performance, or they're working on business performance or sales performance, whatever it may be. We've got friends in our community like David Neath, we've got Dominique Bertensini, both working with really big named champion athletes around the world, Olympic champions, UFC champions, NFL champions, golfing champions. So yeah, it just blows my mind, I think, just how rapidly this can occur. You said that you're one of the fastest at being able to induce trance. How many seconds are we talking? Is it seconds, minutes, hours? What does it take?
Yeah, generally for most hypnosis shows, the first 20 minutes are taken up by the induction. 15 to 25 minutes. So mine is, once they're up on stage, it's literally within 5 minutes they're enacting the suggestions. So Don Spencer himself is actually the fastest hypnotist. So I'm not far behind. So,
and how does Don do it? How fast can Don do it?
I actually haven't got the stats here with me, but he is known as the fastest.
Wow.
So he doesn't do the really long induction. He just gets people up there and they're in trance very, very quickly. Yeah. So it's amazing. But talking about the performance enhancement power, like when we do our 3-day hypnosis, like we do a portion of performance enhancement in that, because it's a great way to start off any coaching or hypnotherapy business is performance enhancement. But performance enhancement, the way that I do it, isn't just for athletes, for example. For me, I use performance enhancement for if you want better relationships, if you want to be a better communicator, if you want to be a better parent, if you want to be obviously better at sales or better at your sporting ability, whatever it is that you do. But the performance enhancement itself, the way that I teach it, you can use it for anything. It's such a powerful tool. And in fact, I only learned on Tuesday during one of our around water cooler sessions that one of our graduates in Pakistan has now gone out and all she's using is performance enhancement and being able to charge $1,000 US for her clients, which in Pakistan is a really
In Pakistan.
That's life changing.
really incredible thing. So she's doing international trainings there just using performance enhancement. And
incredible.
she keeps on saying it's just blown her mind as to what she can help them with by using it.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned a 3-day course, so someone can learn this over 3 days.
3 days. Yep.
And is it like done live, in person, online? How does one?
Yeah, I do live trainings because
Nice.
I love that person-to-person connection still. I think we're losing that with, all the technology and everything. So I always will endeavor to have live trainings. I also do them on Zoom so that the global and international audience can join in as well. So I've been asked,
So you've got quite a few international. So how long have you, so we're focusing on the hypnotherapy here, but obviously that's a portion of a larger company or business that you have.
Yes, it is. So the hypnotherapy, the 3-day hypnotherapy is basically the first module in what I'm very excited about now is our clinical diploma in hypnotherapy and NLP. So we're actually, Successful Minds Institute is the first company or first training company that has been able to have a clinical diploma in hypnotherapy and NLP approved.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
At this stage. So we're very excited about that. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes to get it to the point where it is now. And I'm actually really proud of the trainings that we offer and the caliber of our graduates. And
Just a distinction for people that didn't pick that up. There's been clinical hypnotherapy diplomas for a long time, but you're talking about NLP being accepted within that umbrella as well, because previously there was, there's lots of talk around the world about the effectiveness of NLP and the credibility of NLP. And now you're telling us that you've been able to also get the NLP to be accepted and included. That's a pretty big deal.
it is a very big deal. For me, I believe that hypnotherapist needs to have the skills of NLP. They need to understand the languaging and be able to do it conversationally, but also to understand some of the patterns and techniques of NLP to be able to be, extremely effective with their clients. So, and more so for me, I think it's the coach or the hypnotherapist themselves needs to have done, experienced, and released their stuff before they actually go out and work with others. And I think that's where NLP is really, really powerful in doing that. And also like the timeline techniques that release the, emotional baggage or release the blocks, release the limitations. So for me, having had NLP approved in there as well was really, really important because there are aspects of that to be highly, highly effective, you need to know that yourself. And you need to come from a place where you're not limiting others with your own limitations. So for my trainings, it's the most important thing for me is for the students to release their stuff. So then I know they're going out there from a place that they're not going to limit their clients with any of their own limitations.
Interesting.
It's the same as business. The level at which a CEO will think and act and behave and have their mind expanded to will limit the rest of the team. So
Absolutely.
when you go see a therapist, when you go see a counselor, and you go see a psychologist, the level at which they've worked on themselves will absolutely back. That makes total sense to me. I think there was a famous hypnotherapist that said, Andre Watson said, inclining hypnosis will not actualize, but the hypnotherapist is not believed to be both true and possible.
Exactly.
So that's great that you incorporate that into your training as a double-pronged approach. It's not just a professional development program, it's also a personal development program.
Exactly. And just touching back on, we're just touching back on the stage hypnosis. If I was up on stage and I believed that the people on stage would enact the suggestions, they're not going to do it. So my belief there is just unlimited with what's possible for people.
And they actualize it.
And they actualize it. They absolutely actualize it. It's
I
same
mean,
with anything. So people,
Yeah.
I now get referrals from, the medical community for the very complex cases. So for individuals who have been working, with other mental health practitioners and are just not getting the results. So I'm basically the last port of call, unfortunately, but when they realize they can't do any more with them, then they refer them on to me. And they're talking people who, you know, for example, we're going to the therapy side of it now, but it's understanding what we teach isn't just for therapy.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connect Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting, the Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely. What we love doing is lighting people up and having them realize that their future is bright and, most importantly, making a difference in this world. So we are very excited to be able to share this with you.
If you want to turn every prospect into a forever client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.
Like Callum touched on, it's for professionals like CEOs. If your mindset is in the right place, your business will absolutely boom. If your mindset is in the right place, your team will deliver far beyond what you thought was possible. But also in therapy, it's you. So people come, for example, like with clinical depression, and they've been told that, you know, well, one particular gentleman who came to me, he said, like, you know, everywhere I've been, they've told me that they can fix me. And, you know, he'd walked in and he'd thrown his book on my table and said, I don't even know why I'm here. Nobody can fix me. And I said to him, you're right. Nobody can. And in that moment when he stepped back and, you know, he was shocked. I found out later that was the thing. Everyone had said, whoever he went to see, they said to him, like, you know, oh, look, we can fix you. But the thing is, we know in NLP that nobody is broken. They're just running really shitty strategies, you know. They don't understand how their own mind works. And I worked with a gentleman, this particular gentleman, less than 8 hours. And after the first session that I worked with him, he'd gone home. His son had fallen off a playground equipment, broken his arm. And I thought, oh, no, I hope I don't have to start it, you know, from the beginning. And he said to me, if I hadn't have worked with you on that day, I wouldn't have been able to handle what I've just been through. So in less than 8 hours, he has never experienced depression again. I work with people with complex PTSD, cancer as well. I had a lady come to me who had 4 lumps in her breast diagnosed with breast cancer. And I worked with her 1 week. The following week, she went to see her doctors again, and not 1 lump was left in her breast, not one. All 4 had gone after the sessions. So that's how powerful the mind is, and that's why
That's a deep conversation right there.
It's a big, because once we understand what happens between these fabulous ears here and here, it's incredible the difference that we can make in the world. And, you know, I guess my thing is just wanting people to understand, because a lot of time they come to me and believe that nobody can help them, you know, because they've tried everything, but they haven't tried NLP. They haven't tried hypnotherapy. And it's phenomenal what is possible. So,
I mean, coming back to what you said about the CEOs, it's almost like the size of your net. If you're a fisherman, the size of your net will reflect on the size of the fish you catch. So if you have a small net, you're going to be able to catch small fish.
Yeah.
So it's really, I'm just thinking about a book title called Widen Your Net, and it's teaching people how to create wider nets so that they can catch bigger fish, as if back in the old days, if they were fishing. And I also go to teachers, coming back about the belief system about being projected onto people, and the CEO of the business and their employees. What about teachers and schools? Is there any, like, this should be in schools? Are you?
Yeah, well, funny you say that, Connor, because I actually have developed a school program where we received funding to take it into
Funding from who?
schools. Pardon?
Like government funding or council funding?
Yeah, so it was
Amazing.
philanthropic funding, actually.
Awesome.
Philanthropic funding.
This is good.
To, take it into schools, because that has always been my goal. Because for example, when we do our trainings, we do something as simple as teaching someone a spelling strategy. So I'll ask someone who, one of the students who who he believes that they're not a very good speller, and usually a multitude of hands go up, like. And often on stage, when I do the spelling strategy, which is a very easy concept for them, we've got people in their 30s, 40s, 50s in tears saying, like, why hasn't someone taught us this? Why didn't we learn this in school so that we could, school would have been so much easier had we had this strategy then. So I developed this school program for a number of reasons. One, because I understand how easy it is for people to learn once they have the right strategy. And 2, for the educators to understand that, their words empower or disempower. Not just that, also for educators, they have so much red tape that they have to go through. It's about making their life easier because once they understand these patterns, once they understand these techniques, these processes, it just makes them go back to why they started teaching in the first place, is because they want to make a difference. So it helps them enjoy their job as well, but at the same time, making a huge impact on their learners, on their students, because they're speaking to them and understanding things like, their meta programs, their values, all of those really deep unconscious filters that we have on how we navigate our way in the world. Once they understand that, then they're able to teach using that information so that they engage all their whole class, not just the one or two students who work to their educator strategy. They engage the whole class, so they realize that everyone's strategy is different and they're able to teach them, or they're able to teach in a way where everybody wants to learn. And just think about that, how much more fun it is if you're in front of the classroom like that and you've got 30 students who want to learn, and they're all being empowered at the same time. So we're still
able to learn, because I think a lot of the old traditional ways of teaching, there was kids that were totally shut out from that style, and it was there are different ways of interpreting information, there are different ways of processing, filtering information weren't considered. I've definitely feel like I was one of those kids in primary school, especially in primary school, and I carried on a little bit in high school as well, just not having, I guess, being a white person as well, and wanting to know why it's relevant to me, wanting to know, how it was going to be useful, how it was going to be put into practice. Jumping straight into the what and the how just wasn't working for me, and I felt like, in many ways that it wasn't really a good fit for me. So it's great to have someone like you actually getting into these places, because for a long time it was very difficult for therapists and NLP master trainers to do that. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, we haven't broken down all the barriers yet. There's still a long way to go with that, but we've got a fabulous impact study that shows the efficacy of what we have done in the schools that were part of the initial
That's awesome, Sherry.
rollout thing. So it's now, again, presenting that in a way to the education department so that they want to take it on board. It's not, like I said, everything that you want to do, it takes time and effort, and hoping that people are open to it. Like you were saying about the big net, Connor. Like, when I did training, people said, "What are you going to niche into?" And I think, why would I niche? Like, NLP can help anyone with anything, and we know that, and that's why that net is so wide. But when you are that, you need to do the things that you're passionate about, because that's where you'll get the results. And and when you were saying about the why and the what, Callum, that's why people will say to me, like, why do you do NLP trainings in levels? And I often say to them, well, look, it's a bit like if you were in grade 1 and I was teaching you grade 12 curriculum, you would have no idea what I was talking about. And that's like NLP. That's why we do it in levels, so that people can learn everything they need to know, build the foundations first, and then build on it. And trainers training, people will say, oh, well, I don't want to train NLP, but that's where you bring it all together, because you're learning how to present anything in the why, the what, the how, and the what if, so that you're engaging every person in front of you. Now, that doesn't have to be in a training room. That can be in your own family.
100%.
Business. Can be in anything,
right?
That's why trainers training itself is just so important to do as well, because it gives you all those skills.
Well, when I started using that system with our team in Sydney, it completely changed our attentiveness and our willingness to get going on projects, because they understood the meaning behind it all before just giving them the instructions to know what I wanted to do. So,
absolutely.
So being an NLP master trainer, for those of you who may not appreciate what it takes in order to be an NLP master trainer at the qualification standard that you're at, how long was that process?
So when I finished my trainings, it was a 5-year master trainer program.
So 5 years, that's a long time.
5 years, it is. And you
like
know
a
what?
master's.
I think it is, absolutely. And
It's more like a master's.
absolutely believe that it's so worth it, because not only during that time do you learn how to build your own business, but it is about putting everything together and the extra, because you know what it's like sometimes when you just do a training, you go off, you've done it, you get the results, but if you don't continue it, you tend to give yourself the ability to go back to, point A, like where you started from.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go through and do the levels of training, there's no way you can go back because your set point is so very, very different. But with the Master Trainer program, it takes you even further. Like you are, I don't know, the depth of knowledge, the depth of understanding. And I suppose then, like, that's what equates to the depth of results that you get with what you do, is, I don't know, it's priceless to me.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Priceless.
you talk so passionately about it. And I would imagine everyone who trains with you, that they would buy into that passion as well. That's one of the benefits of being able to work with you, is that you get that at the front of the room and the belief system that comes with that, because it seems to be multifaceted, right? It's not just the content. There's a whole series of intangibles that sort of come with it as well. And I can see that's, how long have you been in this industry for? 15 years now? I got along.
Yeah, close to 15 years now, I think.
15 years, and you train you have graduates and affiliates all over the globe. I've loved watching the rise and rise of you and your business over the years. But what I didn't know about you, Sherry, is that you started off in real estate. I thought, how does one become like you, from where they are now? I didn't.
I guess the thing is, like, it's for me, it was that case of I now get it. I didn't get it before, but we have to invest in ourselves. We have to back ourselves and invest in ourselves to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. Quite often I have students in my classroom that we don't even know what we want. And I get that because I was there. Like, I knew that there was more. I didn't quite know what that was. I did know that I had to let go of my shit, excuse my language. I normally start off these sessions with a slide that says, I'm a classy, intelligent, well-educated woman that says F a lot. But, I didn't have the opportunity to put the slide up. So, but it is like, yeah, it comes to a point of knowing that there is more, knowing that things can be different, knowing that, I'm the only one that can make that difference. And really, I always used to call it putting your money where your mouth is, like investing in myself. And I have to admit, though, it wasn't until I found NLP really that, and I've been looking for 4 years, I'll be honest, that I realized that there is something there that can help anyone with anything. And I still now to this day, like, I've done training with Tony Robbins, the strategic intervention. I've done John DeMartini's work. I've done a myriad of trainings that I have done. And I'll still, because again, I want to make sure that I'm on the cutting edge of this human behavioral change technology. And I still haven't found anything better than what I already trained. Yeah. So yeah, for me, it is really important for us to trust in the process, trust in ourselves, and and come along and do the training. I offer a guarantee, Connor. Like, that's how passionate I am about it. If you come to my training and you don't get the results, I'll give you your money back, because I know that what we do is so powerful that there isn't anyone who comes through and doesn't get the results. As long as they are doing what it takes, I'll give money back guarantee. That's how passionate I am about it.
I mean, it's like the health and fitness industry, right? You can have, unless you eat the right food or you go to you work out, you're not going to get the results. This seems very similar to this. You follow the system and you'll get the results, but you have to be the one who wants it first.
Yes.
This is not like your personal trainer can't do press ups and then you get the bigger chest. You have to do everything. You have to be the one leading, I guess, driving the bus in your own life. And what are you, a bit like the tour guide, I would imagine.
Exactly. And it's for people to realize that, I often, for my students, I have them look in a mirror. We've got these little mirrors. I look in the mirror, look at that person looking in the mirror. And I actually have them, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with that when they first start. They're very uncomfortable, but I get them, look in the eyes, like look at everything that you see there, like, and I'll get them used to looking in the mirror. And then I'll say, if you're looking for that one person that's going to change your life, look in the mirror. They're right there looking back at you. Like you said, I'm just a guide. I can help you with it. Mind you, powerful processes, powerful techniques, a freaking good trainer up the front.
100%.
But the person that's going to change your life is the person looking back at you in the mirror.
And
I think that's the thing that people need to understand. look, I was one of those with what I had experienced in my life. They call it the trifecta, like as in like, the sexual, emotional, physical abuse. So for me, I was always doing the finger pointing, going like, well, my life isn't how I want it because of what they did to me, I'm never going to be like that person because look at what look how my life was. But in the end, I realized like they're all bullshit stories.
Yeah.
These things did happen. Absolutely. We can't deny that. But I'm continually perpetuating that story, becoming what they call a professional victim. And what's the point of that, So once I realized that I'm the only one that has the control, I'm the only one that can change my life. Well, wow. Like, my life skyrocketed after that. It's just amazing. And to be able to let go of those limitations and those blocks, now I understand what they mean by the world is your oyster.
This is inspirational.
We have a lot of people that listen, and they're coaches and trainers or business owners at different stages. And I like to, both Connor and I like to ask the guests, if someone's listening right now and they're sort of struggling to get past that next piece, or they're coming up against the wall of some of those obstacles, some of those barriers that you talked about, and you're trying to get into these places. Maybe they're trying to break into a new market, they're trying to break into a new niche, they're offering a new service, product, or offer. And they're just feeling a little bit like they're not able to get the wheels turning. Can you offer any advice to those people that, obviously you've been through those stages yourself, you've probably been through many of those stages yourself. What is it that firstly got you over those challenges? And then where did the energy and the motivation come from to keep going? Because a lot of our audience, they're in that situation right now. They're really passionate like you are, they're excited like you are. And like any business, like any, coaching, training company, there's hurdles, there's roadblocks, there's challenges. What could you offer them as maybe some guidance? You said that you would guide for your students, your clients. What is it that you would say to them?
I love that question, Callum, because I started off my training company. I live in a town with 200 people.
Oh.
So Tad James himself, I was very fortunate to have been able to do my trainings with Tad and Adriana, but Tad, I wanted to train from the person who created timeline therapy, for example.
Horse's mouth.
The horse's mouth, that's it. So I was very fortunate to have been able to train Tad. But during one of these trainings, Tad up the front had said, you will not be successful if you start a training company in a city with under 1 million people. And I thought, what do I do now? I've got 200 people and, but anyway, I took that on board. You know how we can accept or reject anything. We've got the power to accept or reject. I rejected what he had said and went ahead and created this training company in a town of 200 people. So all my trainings are residential retreat style on the beautiful York Peninsula, where people come into this little regional town, but we have people from all over the world to do it, and all over Australia, obviously. So the first thing is what is it that you are accepting? What are the beliefs that you're accepting, either someone else's or your own? Because I think that's the biggest thing, getting in touch with our own bullshit stories. When it comes to business, what are your beliefs around business? And we have to neutralize those. If we have a belief that it's too hard, or I can't do it, or it's not for me, or I'm not fortunate like they are, we've got to catch all those thoughts and be able to neutralize those. And again, it is about getting a coach. I have a fabulous coaches as well to be able to push me through from a business sense, because we don't know it all. I'm fabulous at what I do when it comes to training and certifying, students, absolutely. But when it comes to the actual ways of being able to market things, I don't know that. So I have a marketer, the way to be able to, make sure someone is there pushing me, because we can get complacent. I have a coach. So, and, you guys with what you do are absolutely amazing. So, and everybody needs somebody like that to start with. But secondly, it is about believing in yourself. And if you don't, what's stopping you from that? So for me, it's catching those bullshit stories, catching those things that we're saying to ourselves that are telling us that this isn't possible for me. And again, as you know, it comes to what are you focusing on? Are you focusing on what's possible, or are you focusing on what's difficult? Because whatever you're focusing on, you're bringing it into your life, your business, your career, whatever it may be. All right.
Yeah,
So
this is, are we being billed for this session? Because this is this is like a training. I've heard the top in the world use similar words, Sherry. Thank you very much for sharing this, and I'm getting fired up hearing about it.
it's we get do you know what it's like? Like humans, we can see in everyone else, oh my God, I can see why they're not doing well. Again, if we can see it in them, we know it's in us as well. So we've got to be open to accept feedback for ourselves to overcome that, to become aware of it so that we can do something about it. Yeah. Because it's all just bullshit stories. Because nothing has meaning until we give it a meaning, you know? And the meaning that we give things determine the quality of our life.
That's deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see why you have such a strong track record of success with you, because what you're saying, not everyone says it. Not everyone is so forthright with getting people to own their bullshit story at the end of the day. When I say own it, I mean like accept it. Like, this is the bullshit story I'm telling myself. And until I stop telling myself this bullshit story, I'm not going to be able to change, because I'm putting the cause of my change outside of me, because I'm playing the victim. I'm at effect. And yes, we're human. We all get an ad effect at times, but it's sort of like how long we stay there for is the question.
And that is a sign of resilience, I think. So what we need to do is, before we do any of this self-development, is measure how long it takes us to get over something, because a sign of resilience is the more resilient we are, the shorter amount of time we sit and dwell on the negative things, right? We actually dwell on the positive things. So resilience is about the amount of time that you spend catastrophizing, as I say.
Yes.
Things. So, things happen, like life's life. I said, shit happens, but when you do the work on yourself, life becomes like this little waves like this. You're riding them, and it's fabulous, which is very different to a lot of lives, which are like tsunamis, they're up and down and up and down and up and down. People expect life to flatline, but, we call that death. So there is stuff that happens, like, it is going to be, these waves, but the resilience is we're not going down and staying down there. It is just these little, and knowing that doesn't matter what life sort of brings at you, and there will be tough times, like, there will be very difficult times, but it's about how we manage those, and we can do that so much better when we've worked on this.
Yeah. Amazing. So I'm just blown away by your comment at the start with your client in Pakistan, because I've spoken to a lot of clients over there, a lot of friends over there, and one of the first things they talk about is the exchange rate of Pakistan. Is it ruble? I'm not really sure.
Rupee, I think rupee.
Rupee.
To the American dollar, and it's just how life changing that would have been for your client to start to do performance enhancement for $1,000 would have not just transformed their lives, but absolutely transformed everybody else's. And I think, what does it take for somebody to make that transformation in their mindset? It takes somebody that has already done it to guide the way. And you've absolutely done that with your rejection of Tad's comment around having to have 1 million people in the town that you live in. And this is a thing that comes up all the time. I could have lent on that whole idea as well, because the town I grew up in had 20,000 people in it. Well, that was the town that sort of one I grew up in had 6,000 people. So we have to think outside the box. We have to look at the opportunities and possibilities rather than, like you said, the problems and the challenges and difficulties, and what do you focus on being the main thing. And with the onset of online now, there's literally no limits at all. That you can do trainings with anyone, anywhere, at any time. All you need is a Zoom link, Zoom account, which you can get the free version, or you can get the paid version, which costs like $30 and then for something like that. So, this has been absolute gold. There were so many things about you through this session I didn't realize either. And and just such a diverse kind of plethora of skill sets, from being the jokester, the jester on one hand, but then also to take on that, that archetype of the person that's the guide, person that's the teaching, person that's the leader. And you are absolutely leading the field if you're able to get the clinical NLP across the line. That's it's one of the biggest things that I've heard of late. It's huge. So yeah, thanks for sharing all that for us. It's kind of blown boundaries in my own thinking about what's possible.
There's nothing that's not possible.
Everything is possible. So
Everything.
how can someone get in contact with you, Sherry?
Successfulminds.com.au.
Okay, so your business name is Successful Minds.
Yep, Successful Minds Institute, and 1-800-4-SUCCESS.
Oh, nice.
478.
This is in Australia, right? 1-800-4-SUCCESS.
Yeah, I think it's an international number. Is actually 1-800-4-SUCCESS. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah.
Brilliant.
So,
We'll have all those details in the show notes.
beautiful. Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And as you might have noticed, I could go on and on, but
I was going to say that we have to
I'm
have a
glad we've
round
got
two.
time. I mean, it's good we've got a time limit.
Where we found where people can find you. What have you got coming up, Sherry, that people can get involved in, just so that people also know what they can do?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. So we've got our 3-day modern hypnosis trainings coming up in November. We've got live in Adelaide. We've also got an online via Zoom from the 12th to 14th of November. And then in February, we actually go to Melbourne. We've got a 3-day live in Melbourne of the 3-day modern hypnosis. And then, of course, we've got our diploma and clinical diploma pathways if people are interested. The clinical diploma pathway really focuses on health and healing as well. So, and that's, again, my passion to know that, all dis-ease, it comes from what we're experiencing in our lives. So I'm really passionate about letting people know we've got the organ talk protocol and also the neurosurgery method that we talk about in our health and healing on the clinical diploma pathway. So if anyone's keen, we're more than happy. Our team's happy to chat with anyone about it and just to see whether, they're ready to embark on the most incredible journey of their life.
Awesome.
Chat's lighting up on those pages. A lot of people are getting on the guide right in it. Lorena's a very insightful thank you. Sal's here, one of our great fans saying she's absolutely loved it. And plenty more comments there from everybody else. So thank you guys who've stayed live with us and joined us. For those of you watching this on YouTube, Cherry, it's been absolutely amazing.
Sherry, we love you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Hey guys, Callum and Connor here from Connect Coaching. I hope you're enjoying this episode of the Unplugged podcast. We're jumping in to let you know about something really exciting. If you are a practitioner, a coach, or a trainer in the alternative therapy modality space, the Forever Client Matrix is something that we've modeled in the last 30 combined years, both Connor and my experience. And we've turned it into a 2-day intensive, and we want to give you a preview of that Forever Client Matrix.
Absolutely.
We want to make the bar for them to enter into that program very, very low and have them get incredible results.
I've sold about $40 million worth, and together we've sold about $100 million worth with our teams.
That's right. We believe that trust and reliability is the currency of the future. So if you want to turn every transaction to a transformational experience, if you want to turn every prospect into a forever client, then please click on the link below in the description and get instant access now to your preview of the Forever Client Matrix.
Enjoy.